Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for wearing noise-canceling headphones when our baby is crying? Forward, I'm pretty certain I'm the asshole. Family agree I'm in the wrong, but one friend is saying I'm not. Also, even if I'm not the asshole, my wife isn't either. She's an incredible mom, amazing wife, and the love of my life. This might be the most interesting Reddit story forward I have ever read. Now I'm intrigued. Me, 33 male, and my wife, 30 female, have a little baby, 0.25 female, who for the most part is a chill and happy little thing who makes our world shine. But as with any baby, she cries, and sometimes a lot. I am diagnosed autistic, and as a result have some pretty severe sensory issues, particularly around sound, and particularly when I'm tired. I have noise-canceling headphones, which are a godsend, so I started wearing them when I found her crying too overwhelming, particularly when I get up at night with her. To clarify, I can still hear her crying, and I don't put them on so I can ignore her crying. Quite the opposite. I wear them so I can hold her without feeling overwhelmed. Also, it's just her being a baby, not a medical thing. Most of the time, she's a joy. I love our 2 a.m. feeds when it feels like nobody else in the world is awake except us, enjoying the stillness and solitude. I love her so much. My wife hates it and has asked me to stop. She said that being a parent involves having to cope with the bad stuff. It's what we signed up for, and that it's important to not block out her crying so I can feel what our daughter is feeling. She also said that it probably scares our daughter to see her dad with stuff on his head when she's at her most distressed. What she said makes a lot of sense, so I stopped wearing them and handled the resulting meltdowns afterwards. But when I was talking to a friend, he said that's an unreasonable demand. I'm not a bad dad, and my needs with my disability matter too. Interesting. Okay. So we'll go ahead and make this official with yet another not the asshole. Whenever we first started the story, I thought, if we're completely noise blocking, that is an issue because you need to be able to hear your child. What if something's wrong? You need to be able to hear that, but it's noise dampening or noise reducing. It is not noise blocking. So he can still very much hear it. And also he's putting them on when he's sitting with her, not so he can ignore her and go to sleep. It's so when he's sitting with her, it's not too much so that it's sensory overload for him and damaging to him with his disability. That's a different story. That is not ignoring it. That is not a bad parenting thing. And still, he can feel everything that his child is feeling with the decibels being reduced there. That is the only thing that is happening here is that he is still hearing everything. He's just hearing it at a decibel level that is not damaging to him. That's it. This doesn't equate to being a shitty parent. This doesn't equate to not feeling what his child is feeling. This doesn't equate to trying to avoid hearing or feeling anything. It's just to not make it a damaging thing sensory-wise. And that is 100% okay. Wife might need some education on this and need to hear, maybe from a physician, that this is a perfectly acceptable thing to do and a preferred thing to do. Because if you end up going into sensory aggravation, that could cause more stress, that could cause a reaction, that could cause more rifts between their entire family. And if what he's doing right now allows him to peacefully be able to handle this situation and not become agitated, what's the problem with it? And I would also battle back on the whole, it probably scares your child whenever they're, a quarter of a year old. They aren't going to be afraid by headphones on there. I mean, once they're old enough to start pulling things off of you, she at some point will probably grab the headphones and start kicking them off when she's bothered by them or when she's curious enough about them. At this point, she probably doesn't give a shit. She's like, hey, I need food, I need someone to rock me, and I need to poop. And that's pretty much all I got on my agenda for the day. You can wear your damn headphones if you want to. It's fine. I'm going to cry either way. But the wife here hating it and asking him to stop, that's rough, and it's going to take some education to get her to see that differently. And I don't know if he can be the one to deliver that information. He seems to be a very reasonable person, and maybe he can deliver that information without it becoming an argument, but she's already said, or OP has already said here, that his wife hates it and has asked him to stop. And that being a parent involves having to cope with the bad stuff. This is the way that he's coping with it. Instead of having to get to a sensory overload point where he has to walk away, he's finding a way to not get there and to still be happy and enjoying the time and able to facilitate all the care that she needs. So, wife, you might have to cope with this. You might have to put up with some bad stuff because you're the only one who has a problem with this.